Actually, you spoke of zero and infinity. And I think that in Hinduism, I feel one of the things that we've not distinguished clearly is the concept of positive infinity. And by this, I don't mean plus or minus infinity. So by this,
Go ahead.
so by this, I don't mean plus or minus infinity. I mean positive infinity. And I think that we've somewhere along the line we lost the idea of positive infinity, which is based on creating harmony, whether it's through art or any other action or design. And I think that is now starting to come back.
See, I'll tell you the Hindu concept of zero and infinity. Zero, if it becomes active, infinity. Zero, if it becomes active, infinity. Shakti, that's all is from what I can grasp from Agama. From Agama I try to find whether we contributed zero and all that. I am not able to find any other references. I only found the addition of the Shakti, activism, makes Shunyatva into Purnatva. Nothing else.
Yes.
And how much the Western concept agrees with it, I don't know.
But Swami,
Addition of the, see like a zero, becoming active is infinity.
I've experienced this and I've created a sports system around this where basically the body goes from zero into positive infinity, goes through a memory loss, and then with the help of Shakti, it reorganizes itself at the level of intelligence. But if you can't activate Shakti, then intelligence also doesn't tend to move. Takes a lot of effort. So this is something which I wanted to share with you as well. Long story. Thank you. Namaste.
Yes. Next.
Vamadeva.
Yes, go ahead.
So I have a question about space-time. So space-time was devised about a century ago. It's a mathematical model that bridges space and time together. So I'm a little bit confused on how exactly it works.
I do not know about the space-time mathematical model you are talking, which is discovered century ago. I am talking about something which is discovered yugas ago. That is why better I use the word akasha and kala. The space-time cannot be the right equivalent word for that.
Okay, thank you,
Actually,
Swamiji.
space, all of you need to know, space, listen, is a living energy. Just like I. You see, bit of space caught in your body is I. Whole space vibrating is Shakti. Bit of space caught in your body is I. The space vibrating with the whole is Shakti. So all three qualitatively same, quantitative only is different.
Okay, Swamiji, what I heard was that when we are in listening with you, we are more in the depth dimension. Is
No,
that-
space dimension. Then
Oh, so
listen.
then, yeah.
30-meter rope. 20 is in the form of length, 5 breadth, 5 depth. But all 30 becoming depth is listening. During the listening, this is what happens. Now come on, ask your question.
So I also heard that among the 25 states of consciousness, the depth dimension is more in the Turiya and Turiyatita states.
No, no, no.
I don't know what I heard.
It's more in the space.
Again, in the space. So then my whole question is wrong.
Then relax. You understood. Please go ahead, Rajiv.
Swamiji, I wanted to understand more about how matter comes out of space. So matter comes from space. So matter.
Volume.
So is it true that matter comes from space? So when matter comes from space, does it exist separately, or is it existence dependent on space?
Rajiji, actually matter does not come out of space.
Okay.
I should say it is rooted and exists in the space only.
Okay.
It is a kind of a, for example, one part of me becomes bone, one part of me becomes flesh, one part of me becomes skin. It just celebrates its existence by becoming so many parts.
This is perfect.
But finally everything is established in the oneness.
Sure. So there's a general relativity theory which says something similar. And Western scholars have not been able to understand it philosophically because it's too bizarre. So I'm just wondering if our theory explains it. What general relativity says is that matter is a property of space. It's like if there's a tornado or a cyclone, the cyclone does not exist separate entity from water. It is only the water spinning. From space, it looks like it's a separate object moving. So you can say cyclone is a property of the water. It is water behaving in a distorted way, and it looks to us like a separate object. So what?
Rajji,
Yeah. So
here
in space,
what Agama says,
Yeah.
and I should say even my experience, in the level of matter, water, it does not have independent will.
Yes.
By the time it becomes a cyclone, it develops an independent will.
Yes. So
When it moves more and more towards the will space, for example, if it is a bucket water, it does not have independent will. If it's a rain, we can ask it to come or stop.
right.
So when it moves closer and closer to space, it develops muscle memory, biomemory, independent existence. The space, for example, how the information through our eyes reaches and hits at a space in us and comes back with a response. That space is what I call Akasha. That Akasha gets developed when something gets closer to the Akasha, even if it is a matter.
Okay.
So that component is not explained in the West, but Agama again and again repeats, a stone is a matter, but huge Himalayas develops an independent will.
So
Fire, same way,
Yeah.
a forest fire develops an independent will. It can go up, down, right, left, like this. It can decide.
So they're saying that physics, general relativity says.
For example, see,
Yeah.
ant
Okay.
does not have everything human beings have. But when it grows towards human being, it develops everything.
Right.
Same way, stone. As a stone, it is matter. But when it becomes a huge hill, it develops an independent will.
Right.
Himalayas has independent will. Ganga has independent will.
Good.
So it is no more just a collection of large millions of liters of water. It develops an independent existence.
Because of size.
Size. Not only size, getting closer to the space.
Very good. Thank you.
Ok, Swamiji, agora.
See, that only explains why we worship hills, why we worship rivers, why we attribute divinity to the nature. Sadashiva gives at least 3 examples in various places. Due to the larger existence, the space it occupies, the ups and downs it goes through, due to all this, the kind of a muscle memory and biomemory itself starts getting built in the system. He says very clearly that Ganga built a muscle memory for herself to be self-purified. So, there are certain natural objects which we consider as matter. When it goes to larger scale, develops independent will, you can relate to that will and play with that will. They can listen to you, respond to you. Yes.
JJ.
Even though it is only now, as on now, I can make the statement at the belief level, but soon I will establish as a Sakshi Pramana, I will establish this. Because some way we will have to establish this. This is very important even to save the nature and ecology. See, Earth is not large mass. By the time it becomes this large mass, it becomes a will of Bhuma Devi, an independent intelligence called Bhuma Devi.
JJ, in the Avatar Shastra, it is written that that you're awakened in all the 11 dimensions. So sometimes in those portals or whatever, that time when we see JJ in it, are we seeing you?
Yes, me only. I should say, now you are seeing me in the first floor. If I have to appear in that 11th floor, I get into the lift, which is my Advaita space, doing pratyahara from this body and mind. Go to the 11th floor, come out of that lift. By that time, my color and some of the qualities will not be same. But some will remain same just to tell you it is me. Only the ID card level, qualities will be retained. Others will not be there, same.
So JJ, my question is, when we have such an experience of seeing you like that, does it mean like only, even though like right now I only remember me here, but for all of us we are with you
Surely, if you
in
have
all
seen
those?
there, you are experiencing me there also. Actually, especially this teleportation and all happens only if you experience me in multiple planes.
But does that mean all of us are there also, but we don't remember it, we're not aware?
All of you are there also and you don't remember. It's unused apps. How in your iPhone? See, somebody gets an iPhone 6 and knows only how to press the number and make call, nothing more than that. That is exactly the way you are using you. Yes.
Hello, Swamiji, Agora.
Go ahead.
I want to ask something. My experiences with your explanations is always that when I hear them a few times, I understand them well, goes inside. But today is like, there's nothing going in and I don't understand a word. And the more that people keep speaking and answering, it more worries me, like it gets more confusing. So I think, what is that? Why doesn't there's a click?
I'll make it happen.
Okay.
It is like I am trying to directly talk to your being, moving your mind away, saying, hey, just move, you move, I'll directly talk to the person.
Thank you.
I'll do it. Actually, I'm not going to end the 11 dimensions today. I have not even gone to 11. I'm only playing with 3 and introducing the time and space. Tomorrow I'll actually let you sleep with this one night. Then take you step by step. See, even in the Nityananda Yogam when I spoke about it, it took almost a week or 10 days, slowly helping them digest. I did not even take them to this depth. I only gave them introduction, then letting them digest, then introduction, letting them digest. And I think I'm going in super speed. And by tomorrow, I'll make you guys completely digest and internalize.
Vamadeva.
Nityananda Yogam is actually too intimate sitting. Too intimate sitting. Even then, it took such long time for people to digest and understand and internalize.
Swamiji, Tatpurusha, sir.
Vamadeva.
Tatpurusha. Go ahead.
Swamiji. Between Tatpurusha.
Yes.
Swamiji, we were discussing on the table during the lunch, and I have this question: that is what the kind of profession that you do, does that by nature may ground you more into, let's say, the depth compared to length? So if somebody is a doctor or somebody is a teacher, will that ground them more into the depth, or is it based on
I
the
should
context?
see, it is more a context and cognition. There are many teachers who don't know ABCD of what they are teaching. There are many students who know much more than what their teachers are teaching. There are many students, they know more than their teachers. There are many teachers who don't know anything. So I should say it's more a depth and cognition of an individual.
So specifically about this, Swamiji, so when
And one more thing, whenever you do some grunt job, repeating every day, you disconnect yourself from it. You just go and put your body, and your body does everything, and even after coming back, you will not know what you have done. Like a driving. Understand? So only if you are enjoying teaching, that makes the depth of you to grow.
So, Swamiji, for example, I'm teaching engineering subject. When I read the Western authors, modern science or modern engineering, I feel certain kind of irritation inside me. I feel like the mental setup from which they have expressed the whole thing. When I read it, I start feeling some kind of an uncomfort. I only have my head part activated.
It is possible.
So, when it comes to engineering sciences, is the definitely we are making cars and all those things which are useful to the outer world or utilities. So if this is not in yoga, going through the modern science, then should this be changed, or we should completely rely on the Vedic system and then expand
No,
it?
I am not saying you should throw away the cars and all that. I am only saying the context with which they expressed and the context with which we can use can be changed. I am not against modernization. I am only against the westernization. I am not against modernization. See the modern equipments I am using left and right.
Yes.
You won't find a modern guru than me, see?
Yes.
And any modern gadgets, I get at least a dozen gift. What latest release? Apple Watch, I have 3. Everything I have. And I'm using it, not I'm just keeping it. I'm using it. I'm not against the modernization. I'm only saying that much more contextual setting from the agamic tradition can be done. Even their engineering, if you study more, from the context of East, you will have a lot of things to contribute. You can add a lot of things. For example, if you look at everything as a living thing, river, everything, dams, all that can be built in a non-violent way which will not create earthquake or ecological damage. That is one side. Even the houses. The house space is a living space. Your body circuit, your physical circuit should be in tune with the house's circuit. That's all. Vastu is all about that only.
Okay. Thank you so much.